What up, thinking outside the Longbox, people? This is Doyle Daniels, and I'm here to bring you a year in review. Um, we're making individual videos this year due to the whole COVID thing and wanting to splicing them. Um, Petrie is here to say hello. But anyways, we'll be going over our, top movie trailers, interviews, movies, shows, comics of the year, and our top interview, I think. Just to kind of pitch back to what we've done this year, maybe give you guys a point if you're new to the podcast, some things you can check out. If you want to go back and listen to the things that we like the most, I mean, if you care. I don't know. It's freaking early though. It's like 9. It's not even early, but it's early for me with my work schedule. So, dog, why you lick my fingers? But anyways, I'm gonna start with my favorite trailer. It's for a movie coming out in 2021. It's called Chaos Walking. The trailer looks super dope, but B, the movie is based off a trilogy of books that I read end of 2009, 2010-ish, maybe, or at least I started them at that point, so quite a while ago, 10 years ago, and they were more designed for teenagers, I think, than adults, but they were also just like a really fun, quick read of a really cool and interesting world. In the world, all of the women are dead, which, that would not be cool, but they've been supposedly killed off by this disease that was, or germ, that was released by the native inhabitants of the new world that they're on. And the germ also has the side effect that all men can hear each other's thoughts, or all people can hear each other's thoughts. There's only men left, but it's called the noise, I believe, if I remember correctly. So yeah, as you're walking by, any little thought you have that pops in and out, it's just like out in the open for anybody to hear. The movie does a really cool job of like projecting it in these weird like colors and patterns that are going off simultaneously as the character speaks. The trailer looks super dope in that way, and it stars Tom Holland. I believe it comes out next year. But yeah, I was super interested to see that they're putting that into a movie, because I did like the books. The books are not, like I said, they're not like literary masterpieces or anything, but they were a fun read and should be an interesting movie. Tom Holland's pretty awesome. He hasn't done anything yet that I haven't liked, so I'm just interested in the movie overall. So yeah, I think that comes out in March. Whoa, I just did something bad. I have everything pulled up here. Yeah, March 5th, 2021. So that will be pretty cool. I'm excited to go. Excited to wait to watch that. Hopefully movie theaters and shit will be open by then, because movie theaters are actually like a thing I really enjoyed doing. I don't know why. Even if I'm by myself, I just like going and sitting in those chairs and just getting that experience. No matter how cool of a household setup you have, it's just not the same. And I know people some pretty sweet setups, but I'm hoping and excited that at that point we'll be able to watch it in theaters. It looks like a big movie. So, yeah. I don't know if the movie will cover all 3 books or just the first book. The first book's called The Knife of Never Letting Go, and it is a trilogy series, so I'm not sure about that, but I'm hoping they take their time and just explore the first book, and if it's good enough to warrant a second and third, that they do it that way to give the story truly the time it needs to develop and really get into it. Patrick Ness, the writer of the book, also wrote the screenplay, I believe, so hopefully that's good news for the book. But yeah, I'll jump off of that. Going into my favorite movie that we watched this past year, actually was a straight to, I guess would be a straight to television movie now, but it's a straight to Amazon Prime movie, called The Vast of Night. It is a very idea and dialogue driven sci-fi film. Harkens back to a 1950s town that is being, I don't know, just say mysteriously inhabited by an alien frequency, and the local radio, disc jockey, I don't know what you call him, radio personality, and his girlfriend, kind of racing around town, jumping from like crazy interview that comes out of nowhere about the frequency. It's just really well done. It comes off, it's almost like a book in a way, because it's so dialogue driven, but there's nothing fancy to the movie. There's nothing over the top. There's no gigantic special effects. It's just a super good story interacted in real time with what I would call A+ cinematography, and entertaining. Like, I don't know how much else to describe it than that. If you enjoy any of those things, or if you're a sci-fi fan or alien fan, or just a fan of storytelling done well, I think you'll really like this movie. We also did a bunch of like compendium interviews with the cast, so we have quite a bit of context. Jesus, I'm like non-functional before 10. I should not do these before 10. I work a really weird like B shift into the night schedule, so this is like 4:30 in the morning for me. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's because Juan's a slave driver. He needs it today. Yeah, I would just point you in that direction if you enjoy any of those things we just talked about and want to see a movie that maybe you missed this past year. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free. Just check it out. Vast of Night. It actually came out in 2019, I guess, but I didn't see it till this year. We went over it this year. Got the beginning of 2019 too. Shit, just missed it by like a whole year. Dude, what are you doing? Not everyone wants to see you. You're ugly. You're not ugly. I lied. I lie. You're beautiful. Moving along from the Vast of Night. Oh, Petrie also has a new squeak toy that's like crazy loud. But to my favorite television show, and that would be who released this? So there's an FX show called Devs that we also, I think, universally liked on the show. We went into it in pretty good detail on the show. It's about a group. I mean, it turns around on a general person who lost his family and had the means and ability to, fund a think tank that creates basically a multi-worlds machine to try to get them back, that allows them to see into the past and the future. You alright? It's super kind of hard to explain besides that. I just like the show for, I don't know, the thought that went into it and the character development. You really get a sense of like who each of the main characters are, what their motivations are, what the show's trying to accomplish, and I think you can kind of put yourself in any of their shoes and understand what they're doing. I mean, obviously it's a little bit hard to see the main characters drive and know the outcome and then stick with him, but if you had lost what he had lost and had the resources that he had, I mean, it's hard to say that you might do anything different than he does. But the show was super creative, super out of left field. I don't know anything else really like it on television. It was a very interesting look at time travel, in the fact of it not really being time travel, and kind of creating a simulated taking this multi-worlds theory, boiling everything down, and simulating your own reality out of actual events. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird, but I would highly suggest it. Again, we talked about it in detail on the show, and it was my favorite show that we watched, not only as a group, but just in general in 2020. Now, favorite comic book, which is funny that we don't really talk about comics anymore, even though we're called Thinking Outside the Longbox, but I still read them. I think most of the guys still read them to a degree. Juan probably a little bit less than most of us, but I know Tim still does art and stuff on them, so he still reads them here and there. But by far, and funny enough, because it's not a book on my pool, but I heard about it and picked up the first trade, and now I'm eagerly awaiting the second trade, because the first trade was fucking phenomenal. And also, Boom Studios is just killing it, in my opinion. Like, they're releasing so much good stuff. I'm a big fan. This isn't my favorite comic book of the year, but I'm a big fan of all the Power Ranger stuff that they're doing. Obviously, that kind of harkens back to just stuff I loved as a kid, but they're doing a really good job of it. I know that my some younger people that I know of, based on like friends and family, really love what they're doing with Ben 10. I have heard. I don't know much about that. But they got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Destroyer, which is a really cool comic book. I'm looking through their titles right now because I don't even know everything they have. Folklords is really cool. Godshaper I've heard is cool. I don't know. I've never read it. I don't really know anyone who has. Damn, they have like a lot. Klaus is fucking amazing. Just looking at Klaus. The Magicians, Lumberjanes, like I said, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They're doing. I feel like, obviously, again, there's some nostalgia there for me. So maybe if there's not, you're not gonna like it. But as far as like that source material being approached seriously and trying to draw like real stories out of it, with just these really recognizable characters from my past, like it's just really well done, in my opinion. They have Rocko's Modern Life. I gotta check that shit out. Got RoboCop. Damn, dude. They got all kinds of cool shit that I did not even know about. But anyways, going to the shit I did know about, which is my favorite comic of the year, and it's not even that close. Ascender is pretty up there. And that's just because Jeff Lemire is like, I think he's one of the best names in comics that's come out in the last 10 years. He just is. Like, his stories are always compelling. His visuals, when he is the artist, are great. And the dude just knows his way around a comic book. But that's not my favorite comic book of the year. My favorite comic book of the year is Something Is Killing the Children, by James Tynion IV, who also deserves a ton of credit. Dude is an amazing writer. So anything with his name on it, I would gladly suggest it. Gladly, I would suggest it. He knocks some shit out to park. But this book in particular is just so out of left field, but so well done. And it's like a fun ride with children getting murdered. I mean, it's hard to do that and keep it compelling, but he does. And basically, it's just along this world where monsters can be seen by children, but not by adults. And you're following a slayer, essentially, of those monsters, who's a little bit older herself. And there's more behind that. Like I said, it seems like there's like a committee behind what she does, where she goes, and how she accomplishes things. Again, I'm only through like the first 5 books, so I don't really know that much about it. Only that the first 5 books are amazing. But the monsters seem to grow more powerful based on the children that they kill, the world that they inhabit, and whatnot. So The main character's name is Erica Slaughter. The book says, like a synopsis, she kills monsters, that's all she does, and she bears the cost because of it must be done. So, yeah, it's a pretty straightforward book, but it's just, I don't even know how, reading what it is doesn't make it seem as compelling as it is to me. The artwork is fucking cool. The perspectives that they give, just the, something slightly in the shadows. The beginning of the book starts out amazing with some truth and dare gone wrong, and a bunch of little kids getting torn up in the forest by a monster. So there's that. But yeah, just pretty legit as far as I'm concerned. If you want to check it out, it's by Boom Studios. I would highly suggest getting the trades, because the book, they're a little expensive. Like, the price of those first comics kind of shot up there. Which is weird, because, I'm sure it's well known. It's just something that went under my radar, but I just didn't hear anything about it till, maybe a month ago. And then at that point, I was like, okay, well, I'll pick up the first couple books, and I'm like, I don't really feel like spending $300 on this book that I don't know to pick up, the first 6 books, which is what I was pricing it out about, what I could get them on eBay, and, so yeah, just not going to do that. But, hopefully they drop at some point, because I do like to own the originals. But anyways, it's a really cool book by Boom Studios. I highly suggest you just look at them in general. I think they're swinging for the fences with all their titles. Everything in their catalog has amazing artwork, decent storytelling, if not good storytelling. So I feel like they're up there on my list right now as one of the better houses. But yeah, enough about that. My favorite interview, I think that's where we're at. This one's probably colored by the fact that we just did a 4 episode, maybe, yeah, run on the television show, and it's one of my favorite TV shows, period, because I've been watching it for 15 years, Supernatural. But the last interview that Gabe did with Jim Beaver, I think, is phenomenal. He's an amazing actor, an eloquent speaker. Gabe asks him 3 questions, the dude just rambles on for half an hour, but it's great rambling. It's what you wanted to hear when you tuned in. Love his character in the show. It sounds weird. Love his voice. The type of dude. This just seems like a man's man that you need in your life. And in the show, he was that for the main characters. And in the interview, he doesn't pull punches. He says what he says. He talks about coronavirus killing some of the joy, which is just something, killing some of the joy of the final episode, which is something I think a lot of people wouldn't even go into. But it's refreshing to hear, because it's killing the joy in a lot of our daily lives. So it's just, he's a real dude. So that was cool. But yeah, this thing's almost 20 minutes. I talk way too long. So I'm going to just stop there. It's a really good interview. We just did it. You can catch that with our going through of Supernatural series itself. We did 4 seasons of show. Except for the last one, which we only did 3, because 15 seasons doesn't break down like that. But go back, give it a listen. Really exciting. And the last thing, on to pop culture classics. Dude, chill. Movies that we watched this year. And it's pretty much impossible for me to choose my favorite one, because some of my favorite movies of all time are on this list. We have original Terminator, original Predator, Friday, Remember the Titans. Those movies are all, I like to say, my top 10. I don't know, but they're in my top jumble, and on any given day could be one of my favorite movies of all time. They all have so much going for them. They're all iconic. Terminator, I'm going to give the nod to, because I would say, dude, hey, chill. I'm going to give the nod to Terminator because of how much drive that pushed me towards as a kid into robotics, comics, and stories of that nature, which led into my love of like space and deep sea exploration, which I don't do any of because I'm chunky, but it's in my mind I do a lot of it. And as far as fiction and nonfiction goes, it's our subjects I'm very interested from, and those all came from robotics, from Terminator into Magnus the Robot Fighter as an old gold key comic, moving forwards, and just they're great sci-fi books. Telling the story of robots, androids, things like that, can't think of anything because it's, like I said, barely awake. But that idea of like an android or robot mimicking human life, us creating the thing that kills us, kind of that whole thing has been, obviously it's a staple of science fiction writing and storytelling in general, but a staple of my, I would say, early development as far as my introduction into the genre of all things not real, but fun to think about. So I give the nod to Terminator, but that's just for that reason. Predator was also amazing. Like, literally my first memory with my father happened, my real dad happened during the movie Predator. So it's like, it's hard to pick those apart. You know what I mean? Remember the Titans is a movie that shouldn't, I feel like, be as up on the list as it is. But literally every time I watch that movie, I'm crying. Like, that movie is so fucking well done. It's amazing. And I can't watch Friday without laughing my ass off. Ice Cube made the shit out of that movie. I'm sure other people are responsible, but that movie was amazing. So, we talk about all those this past year, and those are all movies you can watch. Again, my name is Doyle Daniels. This is Thinking Outside the Longbox. You can find us anywhere that social media will allow it. And yeah, we sell some merch. We have a calendar that just came out. You can still get it before the start of 2021, or just barely. So do that. Support us on Patreon if you want. But if you can't do any of those things, but you do like the show, please just go to wherever you listen to the show and comment on it. Like, we would just love to hear what your thoughts on it. Like, we're just a bunch of friends messing around having a good time. But we genuinely think about and strive to deliver content that you guys want to hear. So if you think something's crap, or you just want us to go over something a little more in detail, or there's something we're not hitting on that you'd like us to talk about, please, man, we're up for it. Give us new ideas. Like I said, we come up with new shit that each other hasn't read or watched or thought about all the time. So that interaction with the fans is something we would highly enjoy. So feel free, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys. It's 23 minutes in. I'm sure you did not watch this whole thing, but have a good night, day, morning, whatever time, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.